Hi, welcome to XReality Podcast. I'm the host, Dominic Wu, and beside me is my guest, Jasmine Lehman. Hi, Jasmine. Could you share a little bit about your background with us?
Yeah, hi. I'm so happy to be on the show. So my background, I'm sure we're gonna get it's kind of been all over the place, but just current me, I'm all about marketing and influencers, specifically when it comes to VR. If you want to niche it down even further, I mostly focus on gaming over general apps. But I started off and still do. Started off as a content creator, doing YouTube videos, what have you. Eventually, I was making tutorials, especially around Live, the mixed reality capture app. Well, now they do more than mixed reality, but that's what it was primary focused around then. And then eventually, this was like 4 or 5 years ago, they hired me as community manager. And then I eventually got promoted to product marketing, which is essentially else the entire marketing team at Live is just me. All the socials, all the copies for announcements, community management, all that was me. Unfortunately, I was kind of part of the layoffs that happened to a lot of us at the in December of last year now, even though it's, sort of February-ish, I guess, at the time of this recording. So since then, I've been able to at least go back into content creation. I'm working with a lot of uh, game developers who maybe don't have marketing teams or don't have large marketing teams to be able to make short form content for now for them, dabble in voice acting, just kind of work on my roots again, which was making VR tutorials to help aspiring influencers who want to be able to or not even necessarily just influencers, but people who want to learn how to be able to record and stream VR because it's very difficult. It's very different compared to just like a flat screen gaming recording. And then through that, that's how I started VR Content Lab, which is a course that's specifically for those that are like, I want to say the most hardcore, those who want to sort of take their VR content creation to the next level, maybe be able to make some income out of it, be able to make a bigger name for themselves in the space. So, yeah, as far as tech, the tech wise, that's where I sort of got my start. But a lot in my past too.
That's really cool. So for the VR content creation, do you use, for example, like I saw you have a green wall background. Feels like the green screen. You don't really need, the entire green screen behind you. You have a perfect like
Saves a lot of time.
yeah, save a lot of time. Like wow, that's perfect. Yeah. So did you do a lot of like I don't know, like a green screen since you have green wall and also I don't know, like a camera, professional camera. And how do you like show? Because I saw a lot of super cool like a VR content creator. One of the woman, she was very impressive. She was painting, using all
Oh,
the
yeah.
yeah
Like Tilt
the
Brush probably or something, Open Brush now.
yeah,
Yeah, those are
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, and like dancing, right, in the dark, right? So how do you like separate yourself from, a lot of different VR content creator? Like what's your style and what's the unique about your content?
Yeah, I specialize in tutorials. And not just like a lot of people do hardware reviews or game reviews. And sometimes I'll do those occasionally for things that I'm like, oh, this is super exciting and I want to get my hands on it. But for the most part, I focus on really just going from basic to advanced tutorials on how to record and stream VR. By most basic, it's things like how to, stream your VR, what you see in the casting, whether that's standalone or PC VR to Discord, for example. Maybe it's not even necessarily for content creators, but then, okay, how to get this in OBS, for example,
Mm.
how to be able to stream it, how to do things like read chat. A lot of the stuff that when you first think of like, oh yeah, cool, I want to, be able to maybe try making some TikToks or YouTube videos, but then you're like, "Wait, how would I do that? Because you're in VR. How do you put what you see in the headset on a flat
Mm.
screen for people to see?" That's a whole it's a whole thing. So that's sort of where my channel started. As I was trying to figure it out, I started making tutorials. People started liking them. They seemed to be useful to people. And then I started in other techniques that I found, because as as we know, as the technology grows, thankfully it's getting a little easier. I don't want to
Mm,
say, sadly, it's not quite, plug and play yet,
mm,
but
yeah.
there are at least now more options out there for recording VR, that you get to choose from instead of just like, well, this is the only way. And if it doesn't work for you, that's it. So
Yeah.
thanks for that.
What software are you do you recommend? Because I saw like there's like a river something, right? Like and yard, right? Like I forgot. Like I remember there was a bug. I didn't use the streaming live streaming that often before I use it, but now I am more like using the pre-recorded and I edit it. So what types of software you recommend and what types of tips for live streaming? Because I know you need to answer people's comments while balance about, stay lined up with your content. How can you, like toggle between those two?
Yeah, so for streaming, it's best if someone has a PC. I know for, the younger Gen Z crowd, surprisingly having a computer is seems like it's becoming more rare, I guess, as people are relying on their phones more.
Yeah.
But if you do want to get serious for streaming, I do recommend having a desktop. Even if you are, streaming Quest native games, you could, like I use the MetaQuest Developer Hub, which sounds scary because it has a developer in it, but you don't have to be a developer to use it. But basically, it gives you a really nice casting window that's got of course, a um, meta software for the PC, but it gives you a really nice, more cinematic view of your Quest native footage, much wider field of view. And then you just can pop that into something like OBS Studio, which you can add your Twitch or YouTube or wherever you're streaming to info to. The only thing about that is you just need a secondary mic, like because the MetaQuest Developer Hub doesn't capture microphone audio for some annoying reason. But there's also, for those who don't have computers, there's Live Hub now, which is a Quest app, and you can stream directly from Quest native to YouTube and Twitch. You can kind of do TikTok, but you do have to go through Restream, and the setup is a little bit hacky to do that, but sort of technically it's possible. But that's why I said it's so nice that we have options now, and it's just so interesting because a lot of kids now just don't have desktops, or they don't have. Maybe they just have a laptop that's meant for school. It's not like a gaming laptop or anything. It's just so different now.
Yeah, yeah. So, speak of those kids, college kids. I mean, currently I'm in higher education. I am agent professor at a community college, and also I'm AI fellows for California Community College Chancellor's Office. So yeah, so one of the thing that the Gen Z is facing, the reason why they don't have the PC computer, only have the old phone for their parents, is because they couldn't find any jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
And
this
it's expensive now with the, RAM prices and AI and all that. So like I can't even adults with normal jobs can't afford. You have to even pre-bills now. But yeah, I totally get it. But it's just interesting how it's changed.
yeah, yeah, and in education, we are also facing a lot of challenge. For example, like right now, you see ChatGPT, right? And student can pretty much. So that's why our pedagogy or our assessment need to change. Because if we use like a quiz, right? Students, Gen Zer will just screenshot and throw to ChatGPT and never think. So yeah, so there are a lot of things have been changed. Yeah. So my question for you is that, what do you see, for example, like what types of advice you might give to the younger Gen Z generation if they want to be the content creator like you, or they want to build their XR career um, at their age? I know I feel like sometimes I feel bad about this generation because if I were them, I'm all millennials. But if I were them, I would feel super panic because you see, like even CS major in Bay Area, I live in Bay Area. It's very very hard for any of them to find anything, and you see like the uh anyone, including manager, business people, anybody in the company can code, right? Or can come up with a
Mhm.
job. Yeah, so they only need the senior. Every field they need senior, and even senior got layoff, right?
Yeah.
So
I,
yeah, go for it.
yeah. I would say it's maybe not necessarily focus on working for a specific company. Like having a company in mind, you're like, oh, one day I want to work for, I don't know, NVIDIA, just throwing out, like that's a good goal. But like maybe realistically to help build up your skills, consider going freelance. Consider again, my most of my experience is going to be in marketing versus development, so I'm probably going to focus on mostly that and influencers. But if you do want to say take content creation more seriously as a full time job, start first of all start making videos and start getting them out there. Because if you don't post anything out there, you're not going to have anything to evaluate to know if you're doing well or not. Um, but there's other ways that content creation can lead into other marketing jobs as well. So if you start, maybe building your own community around your content through Discord or what have you, that can be a community management role for, a countless number of, doesn't even have to necessarily be VR if you don't want to do VR, but I'm biased. Or even doing your own social media. That is still social media that can be transferred over to another company that needs someone to make shorts or posts on X or blog posts. There's a lot of opportunity for freelance right now, and with things being so shaky with bigger companies lately and a lot of layoffs, that would honestly be my biggest advice. Find a skill that you really think you'll enjoy long term. Lean into that. Keep improving. Keep making. Working on that skill, publishing whatever it is. Again, whether blogs, videos, what have you, um, and then keep going from there. Because I never expected that I would be where I am today, like 10 years ago.
Yeah, me too. Like before AI was being big, like I remember OpenAI, right? ChatGPT 3.5 or something, right? Came out 2022 at the end of 2022, somewhere around that. And during that time, I remember Metaverse burst and Meta laid off a lot of people, and Mark Zuckerberg was even crying, right? Like, oh, sorry, everybody. But now I don't think he feels sorry. But before
After
that,
the several times of doing it, it's probably
yeah,
like,
it's
"Oh,
like,
just
yeah,
another one."
yeah, just another one. But I think during that time, I just feel that wow, because I had another part time job. It's called Design Lab. I was the UX mentor, so I was teaching, and a lot of my students said that oh, there was another kind of a couple of AI. You just text prompt your idea, and you will start generate. It's just the beta mode. And when my students saw those types of apps, they were panicked. They said, "I pay 10K for this boot camp, but if there's one app just like totally replace me and do much better than me, and why am I doing this? Should I just leave the boot camp?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's very tough. If you see that right now, Cloco is working with Figma, right? And Figma's stock price is going down to like yeah, because all the SaaS got affected by the super powerful, uh,
Mhm.
text prompt to app. A lot of people unsubscribe the softwares. The softwares, you see, if you are laying off half of your staff and you are charging one seat, it doesn't really make sense. A
Yeah.
lot of people, as far as I know, a lot of my friends, they just build, for example, Trello, right? They just build their logo, premium, free local like a app, and I build my own Mailchimp. Yeah, so when I send out newsletter, it's pretty much I use my app, yeah, every week,
Wow.
so I don't have to pay like a $50 or 100.
Yeah, and well, speaking of Mailchimp, and then increase as your contacts increase, so do the so. Huh? Maybe I got to ask you about that later.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
'Cause
Let's
I
do
use
it.
Mailchimp as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you see like Salesforce, they lay off like a lot of people. We thought that oh, SaaS company is really good, right? You don't have to build actual infrastructure physically. You just do something on the cloud, right? But you see, like if that um, infrastructure got even devalued by the current tools. What can young people do? And I asked a lot of speakers, they all say this similar things like you, like, oh, you just get your hands dirty, just start making something, right? And push, right? So yeah, we don't really know what's the future will look like. So I do agree with you that you just start making something, and
Yeah.
something will lead you to another thing, right?
It's an interesting balance too, right? Like I know a lot of content creators, especially now, they're like, oh, I can just use Chat GPT to make me a thumbnail. But then when their thumbnail comes out, like it's from scratch completely. Like it doesn't quite look like them. And you look at it and you're like, this is an AI made thumbnail. And if I didn't know the person, my assumption, if I were to see, these kinds of thumbnails on someone's channel, is like, oh, maybe their whole channel is just AI. Like maybe they just
Yeah.
took footage from other channels, compiled it into a video, use AI voice. So it kind of, I know it's different. Everyone's gonna have different opinions on this, but to me, that kind of loses credibility a bit. Like I think AI is great, and I use it for brainstorming and scripting help, and even I'll use it to add a little bit of polish to my thumbnails. Like I'll make my thumbnails from scratch, but then I'll use it to like make it more 3D, like make certain things pop. But I feel like you do have to find a good balance of like the human and then just using AI to enhance versus sort of make something from scratch. Because people, I know it's getting harder now that AI is getting better, and it's becoming
Yeah.
harder to detect like what's AI and what's not. But at least for now, while we can still sort of tell,
Yeah.
um, it's always good to sort of err on the human a little bit. But again, not to sound anti-AI, because I love it. I use it like every day to help me brainstorm and different, even the whole chat just for like cat questions on my kitten. That's stuff like that. From lifestyle to work, it's got everything in there. But it's just an interesting balance. And I would say definitely, this is probably easier for kids, for the younger generation than the older. It's like definitely still learn to use these tools, because companies are probably going to want somebody who can, get thoughts out there quicker. Again, don't necessarily be like, okay, make me a blog post and then here, copy paste blog post. Like there's a lot of, uh, working through it and tweaking to make it sound like what you want, to have its own voice instead of sounding like AI. But no, develop these skills now, like work with AI now so that you know how to kind of, trying to think of the word for it, like how to whip it around, how to bend it, how to, really use the prompts to your advantage, and don't just be like what our parents would do and just copy paste the exact answer and be like, it's an answer, here you go. But everybody knows it's AI. Because
Yeah. Yeah.
they don't work with they don't work with they don't work with Chat GPT, they don't work with Claude to continually refine whatever it is you're trying to do, writing a script or blog post. This is an example for text anyway. But yeah. So
Yeah.
develop those skills too. They're probably going to be important. A lot of jobs may hire someone who at least has some experience with, Claude or ChatGPT over somebody who doesn't, because they're going to be able to work quicker. I don't know how I feel about that, but I think it's sort of it's what's currently happening, fortunately or unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah. Recently, I saw a news. It seems like um, um, a couple of like two uh, college students joined a startup, and then those two college students, because in college or higher education, a lot of teachers are resistant to use AI. So they told students AI is unethical. Don't use AI. You are ripping off other people's data. So student has their no AI policy. I remember because I have a startup as well. And I mean, I teach. So some of my students, I invite them to, work with me like a volunteer. And I also do like apprenticeship, teach them how to do like a VR development using Unity. And a couple, I think a couple of my students told me that I have no AI policy. If there's anything use AI, I won't be able to stay because it's against my belief. And I was like, wow, what a strong belief, right? So yeah, and I even heard that some community college they have no AI club, like a religion or something. Like they believe.
Yeah. It's kind of, I mean, on one hand, I could see it. Yeah, you obviously don't want kids to like cheat in tests and, do things like that, things that they should actually be taken to memory. But in some cases, again, like with coding, you still have to apply the code somewhere. So if you're starting from zero, you sort of have to. It kind of speeds up the learning process a little bit. But again, granted, it's probably going to be something that you're actually interested in learning versus, say, like, I don't know, for me, math. I'm like, I don't care if this commits to memory or not. I just want it over with and done so I can move on to the stuff that I actually care about, that actually interests me. So I don't know. Or it's like calculators, I guess. Like, you're not allowed to use calculators in class. And it's like, but I don't care if I know how to do like long division or what synthetic or I don't know. It's just like, I don't know. It's
No
part of the
worries.
young part of me that's still angry about math, I guess.
No worries. Yeah, like recently I had like a tax return, and I really don't like to do the like a deductible, like a business deductible. And so that's why I put all I don't know whether I think those are sensitive information, but I just download all of them and store into my cloth. And then later on, it just like very quickly come up with the sheet of each parts, like my whole year, like what's
Oh,
my
that's so nice.
expense.
I'm
Yeah,
not an
no,
accountant. This isn't what I like to do. You do it for me.
yeah. Yeah, because I know if you hire a bookkeeper or even use intuitive, the bookkeeping like softwares, right?
Mhm.
QuickBook. Uh, you might need to manually. I know there are some AI enhancement, but you need to manually to put in the category. And those things are the least thing that I like to do, especially fill out the form of the tax return.
Yeah. Yeah. That
Yeah.
feels like a waste of time. It's like, just let me just give you all the documents and you do it.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what I'm thinking. It's like just like you said that, oh, like a mess. I just want to get over with it. Like same as me. Like oh, tax return, store you everything and give me the result. I don't even want to learn what's going on.
I just want it done so I can move on to the things that matter in my life, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Like for example, like I would say, for example, like a game, right? Why this game is good, right? Why this game is bad, and how can we make this game fun? Or because I also publish a book and I play probably about 100 XR games. But during that time, I was at Meta, and every time when I play a game, learn a game, I usually take notes, pros and cons, from the UX perspective, because my background is product designer and XR developer at Meta and also Walmart. So so those are like something that I really care. So I think for things that I care, I can spend more time, right?
Mhm.
Instead of doing all the calculation for tax return. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's so annoying. Every time when I saw the form and my brain just like shut down. It's like I don't even know how to do it. It's amazing.
God forbid you have to call, sorry, side tangent. There was some kind of issue with one of my returns, and so I've had to go back. I've actually had to call someone. I've had to call the government, and I'm like,
Oh,
what if I don't know what they're talking about? So I have to I run it through AI first. I'm like, okay, here's my problems. What papers maybe I need ahead of time so I can show them. It's just panic. It's like, it's not me. I don't know anything. I'm just like everybody else where I try to fill out the correct forms that everyone tells me to fill out and hope for the best.
yeah, and recently I think AI make all the scan like a text or like a email looks very real. So I usually just screenshot something that, for example,
Oh,
text
yeah.
return. Oh, your text return something. Please click this link. And I was, like, is this real? It feels
Yeah.
like a from IRS. So I just screenshot and ask like a Gemini, and Gemini just said this is a scam and give me a lot of flag. And I was like, okay, so yeah,
I'll do the
so
same thing, yeah, but for Perplexity, I'll put in things, it's like, "What about this? Does this email, like, known to be suspicious or whatever?" Because yeah, there's so much of that now. AI making scams and AI helping you against scams. It's so weird.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I think AI really, really change our behavior, right?
For sure.
Especially like right now development. I can tell you, I am right now trying to push my app to MetaQuest store, and I'm trying to get through like a VRC, VR
Mhm.
checklist before submitting. It's like around a couple of hundred. rules. It's like a super huge document that I need to get through. And there's like a Excel sheet and just make sure you need to check all the box. And I run through cursor and ask cursor that, hey, read my current build and tell me which VRC are
Done.
yeah, yeah. And I
Yeah.
asked it, and right now I didn't write actually code any line of code. I usually just like ask cursor that what's this script about? And give me the best options. Give me the
Mhm.
best options to optimize the code, integrate with whatever code. And this part, that part, I'm more like a director. More like, hey,
Yeah, yeah.
matches this, and instead of coding every single line. Yeah.
That's the key too, is you're not just like taking the first result and being like, okay, I guess this is good. Like there is a lot of direction that's involved, even in things like writing copy.
Mm.
Because you can't usually the first result's all right, but it's not really what you need and what your audience probably needs. But yeah, that's super interesting.
Yeah, yeah, and also I find out that before AI was invented, I was like trying to learn things and sometimes coding. Everything feels like a less intense. But ever since I have AI, even though the productivity is increasing, but I feel like I am taking the responsibility role and the gatekeeper. Because if I have one command is wrong, all the file will go wrong immediately, and it's very hard to like
Yeah.
so it's like it's also cost me a lot of brain because I need to make a lot of very decisive decision, which make my brain extremely tired.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, you mentioned that you have like a bodybuilder. You have a lot of interesting like a background. So can you tell us like how can you link all the different like interests and make where you are today?
So, bodybuilding, that was something I started in my early 20s. I guess for reference to give away my age now, I'm 34. But I think in my early 20s, I was kind of like everyone else, where it's like, what do I want to do? There's, so much pressure to pick something to do outside, like once you finish college or to do, figure out what you want to do before college so you know what classes to take. Um, and I had always been the kind of person who had like ideas for things, but I never really followed through on them. So, I think I started working out and then I started lifting weights and I was like, oh, you know what? Lifting weights, that doesn't seem to require too much skill. You put things up and you like, I always sucked at sports. Like sports requires hand-eye coordination, all that kind of stuff that I don't have. So I got really into weightlifting and then I started joining, online fitness communities and stuff, and I saw women like, for me, I thought that bodybuilding was just, like, one level. It was just the big, the Arnold Schwarzenegger type of and that's what bodybuilding was, but I found out as I did more research, there's actually different divisions. There's, like, different levels of musculature, and so I had competed in the bikini division, which is the slimmest, the least muscular. Still muscular, but not, like, d roid jacked. And so that was something I was like, you know what, I'm gonna set a goal and I'm actually going to do what I say I'm gonna do for once. And I did. I don't think I placed very well on that first show,
Mm.
but I kind of got the bug and then I had competed again a second time, or actually two more times, I think, within the 2-year time span from the first. But then I took a break for a while because I think it started to mess with my body, like self image, because I would keep comparing myself to what I looked like as I was preparing for these competitions. Which, when you're on stage, that is a unrealistic way to look as a normal person. This is like you're dehydrating, you're balancing your electrolyte levels, you're eating, like that week is just not a healthy week as a normal person. But I think mentally that sort of messed me up a little bit. But I did, once I got into VR, I actually was like, I kind of want to try competing again, but using only, like in my case, it was supernatural workouts as
Oh, that's good.
for my training for that. But I didn't want to go big, so it was a Muscle Beach competition, and they had like a vintage swimsuit category, which is like cute, and I was like, that's kind of my theme. I like all the vintage stuff, and so what I did was I um well, and I still kind of do this actually because it's become a habit now, but I played Supernatural 6 days a week. And then over time, I would do things because I knew I needed to have resistance. So I would add things like weighted vests that can add, weights in incrementally. I have weighted ankle weights, and then even like resistance bands for boxing. They kind of like they attach to your ankles and your wrists, and then there's like a resistance band that goes in between. So for boxing, those. So I just kind of added resistance that way, and actually placed second, at least in my height class, for fringe swimsuit for that. So I was like, it was fun being able to say that I used VR to get me here. Granted, now that Supernatural's going away, it's kind of a little sad, but um, that was something that I think taught me a lot about myself in terms of what I can do. And as long as I just decide to put my mind into something, I actually can be able to achieve it. It didn't matter to me necessarily what I placed. I can't. I lie a little bit because at the time it's like, well, I kind of wish you always want number one, but the biggest thing for me was actually going up there on that stage and just doing it and being there and having prepared to attempt, make the actual effort to be on stage like that. So that I think even though I don't like fitness isn't my main focus, it's a big focus in my personal life but content wise and like career wise, not so much, but it's still carried on in just the mindset of having a goal and being able to go straight for it and achieve it, or at least attempt to achieve it. Doesn't matter the placing.
Yeah, yeah. I think your background is very interesting because you are from, I think you pursue whatever you like, right? And then connect the dots and become the unique you. I haven't heard any second person who can connect, who has the same path as you. So
Oh, yeah. Fun fact: even before bodybuilding, I worked at doggy daycares, like and at an animal shelter. And but while I guess I liked that, I got kind of tired of it, and I worried that like, oh no, is working with dogs like the only thing that I'll be able to do for the rest of my life? I had that sort of crisis that I feel like a lot of us have when we're in our teens and early 20s. I'm like, uh oh, is this where I'm gonna be the rest of my life? Me in my early 20s, so young, having these thoughts. But so I wanted to change that. And again, I thought that didn't like working with animals, but I kind of got tired of being bit and peed on and just cleaning up poop, all that all that stuff. I wanted to change. So that's kind of where I think what really sparked the bodybuilding and then just experimenting with a bunch of different fields, the stuff.
yeah, I think a long time ago I had the same crisis. I mean, I'm 40 actually. I know I look pretty young, but I'm 40. So like before when I was 20s, I mean I'm from Taiwan, so I was getting through like a 13 years of, the H1B. I changed to visas and green card and then citizenship back in 2022. So it has been a very, very long process. And I remember during my first job in Irvine, OC, and then I was like, because that was my first job, and I was a graphic designer, in skincare company, and it feels like I was the only designer, so everything was stored to me, and there wasn't any. I don't want to say that it feels there's no future, but it feels very stable. Yeah, so I had the same thoughts. So that's why I learned from my friend that, oh, Kappa Modern in UCI, they have super cool hip hop dance. So I remember after I was such a really nerdy person, and I remember during that time I wear like a super heavy black glass. And sitting in front of the computer, super nerd, and just like doing Photoshop, Illustrator. During that time, we still do that. And then after, and I look so nerdy and I don't really talk. I just get things done and leave. And then I just, you know, get changed and then do the hip hop dance. And during that time, I changed, kind of like I learned, because I feel like, sometimes you don't have any direction. You kind of want to do something else because maybe whatever leads you is wrong, right? Graphic design,
It's like a young life crisis.
yeah. Like a 26, 27, I feel like, gosh, I don't want to be like that. And I can see my future just sit on the chair and become really fat, eating all the snacks and sitting there doing Photoshop. Like,
It's like you're like, "Is this what I wanna do for the rest of my life? Like, is this the only kind of" you can predict, like, "Okay, maybe I won't be working at this company doing graphic design, but I'll be working at a different company kind of doing the same thing," but,
yeah,
you know
right.
so that's yeah, you sort of get that panic moment even though, at 20, you don't realize you still have a lot of years ahead of you, but to you, it's just the present and the super short future that you can only think about.
Yeah, right. And later on, when I dance, I feel like during dance, just like you do bodybuilding, right? I think the process is delightful because you are moving your muscles and it will produce some, dopamine, right?
Yeah.
Make you feel delightful. So when I was dancing, I feel like, wow, all the people who got depressed should do, some dance or some exercise because people
Mhm.
they are so happy and listen to a loud music and just let your body move. So that's why I start interview. Mm. Bring my professional camera. During that time, phone's camera was not that good. It's like a 2011, 2012. The first was like 15 years ago. And I just took my professional camera and start interviewing, record the class, and helping out maintain the channel. Yeah, it was very crazy. And I was thinking about, yeah, I can make a TED talk for everybody. So it's like, you see right now, I do like a podcast, right? And I do like some, like a video tutorial for development. It's probably all from those time. And later on, I met a lot of cool people and joined like game jam, and I start learning Unity. 'Cause I remember first game jam, I just can use like a Illustrator and doing some character design. And I saw Unity developer are so cool; they can make things move. Yeah, so I think everybody's path was like you just follow what's right at the moment, and things that
It's
are
true.
really good to
'Cause even
somewhere that
yeah. Like, when I was doing bodybuilding, that's kind of, again, early 20s, so I was like, "Yeah, I'm hot." I started doing modeling, and that's when I started posting on social media and learning how, the techniques to start to develop a following, and that's sort of what kickstarted marketing for me. I didn't know I was going to be well, I eventually I started into gaming and then even further into VR, but I would not have been able to predict that. It's just a weird trajectory we take sometimes to get to the places that we are now. But you know what? I don't regret it because if those things didn't happen, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have the experience from the other stuff that I had tried when I was younger. So yeah, it is fun to hear people like just the weird paths we take. It's never a straight line. Never.
yeah, right. Like I would never ever think that I will be where I am today. And by the way, I got one degree. My entire family were teachers, elementary school teachers back in Taiwan. So before I got my scholarship to study in our center back in 2008, I already finished a degree which was the teacher training. So I told my mom that I am not going to be a teacher. You guys live in your little world, be your little king or queen in your class. Your life is so limited, and you hold one textbook and teach for 25 years. It's not really inspiring. So I'm going to leave. I don't want to teach. It's not the career that I want to pursue. But now I'm back. I become a teacher, and I really enjoy teaching. So I think life is like, sometimes you just like, I've never become my parents. They are not cool, but
And then you just come right back.
yeah, but when I talked to my mom that I got a job to become a Asian professor at community college, and my mom said that, see, I told you it's good to be a teacher. You see, like the industry is so tough, like yeah, yeah. So, and teacher is very stable and, with a lot of kids and they are all, happy, like, very young and you feel like your heart is young too.
Yeah, like you're actually doing something, like, meaningful.
So I feel like, yeah, it's interesting how life bring us like you against it and now you're, now I'm back. So yeah, it's the same thing. Cool. So yeah, so what's that one thing that you still like to share that we haven't touched on yet?
Mm. I think that, you would probably understand this more than anyone because you work with, a lot of Gen Z, I think, is what you mentioned, right? But for some reason, there's this big, uh, especially on X, which I know can be horrible and kind of a toxic place when it comes to VR. But a lot of people forget that it is Gen Z. They are eventually going to be, the future adopters of VR. Knock on wood, God forbid, hopefully it sticks around. But a lot of people like to knock on the Gorilla Tag kids and, make fun of them. But and I was one of them before Live switched over from, mixed reality content creators, which are kind of like, I want to say 25 plus, because you had to have a decent computer, PC VR. When we switched to working with Live Creator Kit, stuff that's only on standalone, and I had to work with a lot of the Gorilla Tag kids. A lot of them are really bright. People talk about how, yes, there's a lot of Gorilla Tag clones on the store, but a lot of these are made by kids that are like between 8 and 12, and they're making VR games. Like, yeah, of course they're not going to be great because they're young, and this is probably the first thing they have ever made, and the first thing, first videos we ever make, the first they're all going to suck. Okay, it's just part of life. That's how you grow, but they're still putting something out there, and they're still trying, and they're gonna, as long as they keep getting encouraged, they're going to keep experimenting, reiterating, and maybe even making something as good as, I don't know, it's going to be kind of dramatic, but like maybe as good as a Half-Life Alyx once they become, polished enough and they keep working at it. But I think something to remember is like, give them a little bit of slack. They're at a young, they're just as excited about VR, if maybe not more excited than we are. They're not part of X or Twitter. They don't get to see all of the negative people talking doom and gloom. They're just in the headsets, playing it as intended, enjoying themselves. And if we keep promoting that, they're going to be the next ones that are going to be the future marketers, content creators, developers. So I think that's my message. Just like, give them some slack.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like for the young people, right? And especially right now, all the companies. I just realized, wow, how powerful Claude or Claude Code or, Open Claude, right? Those types of AI agent. And I know every week before it was month, right? Every couple of months, then one thing, new things like, well, super innovate and will knock the headline of the news. But now I feel like it's weekly. Every week there's like something that is like a provocative happens, right? Like an open claw. Like, wow, you have like a lava stir and they make religions and they have like their own Facebook. Yeah. And talking
It's
about human.
so fast. It's crazy. But I don't know, these kids, like, I mean, I guess it's just kind of like us when we were younger.
Yeah.
Photoshop. I remember Photoshop 7, I think, was like, I don't even know if I got it legally, to be really honest. But, that in the day was complicated. And I remember, I don't know how old I was, but I was pretty young, like maybe in middle school, tinkering out in Photoshop. And people were like, wow, look at this futuristic, software. So, and even then, modding games, like this is just sort of the new generation of kids tinkering with things. And I think we should just keep encouraging them to want to experiment,
Yeah.
especially for those of us who are in VR, XR, and we want the industry to thrive.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are making cool stuff. And even if I'll admit I've had to try a couple of the like Gorilla Tag clone games because they added Liv's camera, so I jump in to try it. As an adult, they're not good, but their friends seem to like it, and I'm not Gen Z, and I'm not going to ever pretend to be a young, cool kid, but there's something in these games that, other kids of that age just love, and I don't understand it, and I won't ever pretend to understand it, but it is working for them. So, I think it's just being less ageist. I was very, young kids, get off my lawn, dumb kids, but everyone's dumb when they're like, I was dumb when I was 8 to or teenage age.
Yeah, that's so
Um,
true though. I remember when we were entered to the job or career back in probably 2008. That time, we were my friend and I were like a new entry for the job. I remember all the old folks, like probably boomers, they said that, oh, you guys are strawberry kids. Like, you cannot endure the high pressure. Like, oh, you guys are useless. But now we become like more senior and we start, complain about the younger kids, right?
yep,
So,
we're just doing the same thing that the generation that's complained about, but, you just gotta remember they're the ones that are it sounds so stereotypical to say like, "Oh, they're our future," but they are. Like, if it's gotta sort of appreciate some of the things that they're doing sometimes, and also considering their brains aren't fully developed yet completely. So as long as they're going out there trying, they're making games, of course they're gonna suck. Everyone's first thing sucks, but
Mm,
they made it. They published it. They're proud of it. They're gonna hopefully keep sticking with it, iterating and making better and better games, making better and better content.
mm,
But they sometimes they need that encouragement. Doesn't mean we need to be patting them on the back, be like, wow, this is amazing. It's just be like, okay, this is pretty good. Maybe here's what we can improve next time, but keep making sure there's a next time. I think that's the thing is finding that balance of like, you don't want to say that they're amazing when they're not, but you don't want to just completely shut them down and be like, get off my lawn. You're too young for VR.
Well, what's the right age to access VR, right? Yeah, so I do think that yeah, we should give like our young people more opportunities and chances. And you see, like right now, it's all seniors occupy. I would say all the big companies, right? If you see still there, not being laid off, probably like a very senior, right? And let's say once those after 10 years, those seniors are gone, and we didn't, bring those junior up, and there will be a huge gap between, the job, the workforce. So we still need to, spend time and train our, Gen Zs or Gen Alpha X. Yeah. Yeah. And maybe
Everyone
even
who comes
like the
before
mid
them.
babies.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I totally agree, and I do think that you see like higher education, we also got crisis because nobody really wanna have kids nowadays.
True too.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I was thinking about, let's say if I have kids, I feel worried about the future because I don't know what the baby can do, when the baby grow up, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
so I feel very worried, and I asked a lot of couple of previous speakers. They said that, oh, I have a teenager, at my son, right? And they start asking a lot of really deep questions, like for example, like why should I learn math? Yeah, like if ChatGPT can do everything, why should I learn this? Right? Why should I learn coding? And there's another term called mouse man in China. I recently swiped my like a TikTok. I saw uh, some uh, some young Gen Z or Gen Alpha after they graduate from college, they just stay in their room and they don't want to do anything because they got frustrated. There is no opportunity for them. It's in China. So, and the term for the old generation give to them is mouse. And I'm very feel like, wow, then my generation was not too bad. We are strawberry. Mouse is even worse.
Yeah, it's interesting because I don't know. Again, I don't have kids the same way, but I don't know if it's still forced down kids' throats. But at least, like when I was younger, it's like, high school, do good in high school, then figure out what you want to do, go to college. If you don't go to college, you're going to be a failure. Like that was the thing. It was really pressured to like, go to college and figure it all out within a very short
Yeah.
time span. When as you get older now, you're like, wow, I had a lot of time to figure it out. And I'm actually very grateful. I just went to community college because I was like, well, I have to go to college of some sort. And so maybe I was like, I'll go to community college and see if I can figure it out
Oh.
before committing to a 4 year, which I never ended up doing because I ended up again just going the weird freelance route that ended up working out. But I know a lot of kids don't necessarily have the freedom to be able to choose that way. Like it depends on their parents too. Some parents are more like, well, you have to become doctor, you gotta,
Yeah.
follow in the family line of being whatever, or you have to go to college because I want to impress my friends that you're going to college. I don't know. Everyone's, situation is different, but it takes time. But it's a scary time to take your time, I think.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
even for me, I'm like, I don't know if I even completely have it all figured out where I'd be comfortable having a kid and then telling them how to figure it out because I don't know what I'm doing. Like, am I qualified to help a kid I don't even know what I'm doing sometimes? Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, yeah. I do think that if you see right now the entire trend, right? And I do think that like I learned from a lot of people that said that in the future, maybe kids will all inherited from their parents of everything because and Elon Musk, right, recently said that, oh, since everything will be so cheap, money won't have any value. So it's like, wow.
Coming from a billionaire.
Yeah, I was like, wow, that is pretty wild because you see, like, right now is LLM, right? In the future, I mean, right now is already happened. It will be word model. Word model is now just text prompt chat or computer thing. It's like the AI release from 2D screen to the physical world. They have arms, they have legs, they can move around and do everything for us. So right now we still think, oh, blue collar, oh yeah, like a white collar job. We love to do, movie, films, character design, voice or like a actor, right? And like a painting, all those stuff. But AI first replace are all those fun stuff that that we like. And so that's why it's also, I feel like a little bit sad because right now, for example, I'm trying to push kind of EV automotive kind of like programs using VR. And one of the thing that, because when we think, oh, that's perfect, right? Because EV, there are a lot of um, um, like a toxic stuff, like a lithium battery, right? So those are very dangerous for students to do in real life. So VR training is perfect. But I as one like have a meeting with another senior faculty, EV faculty. She said that the problem about those jobs, like a workforce job, is that in the blue column job in their family or in our mindset, we think that those are lower job, the labor job, and people don't feel proud. And parents might not like, oh, my daughter become a mechanic and fixing the car, right?
Yeah,
So
that's true.
yeah, or whitening, right? Or like a culinary, right? All those jobs we saw like, oh, this is great for VR, or this is great for the next generation to take over the blue collar job. But if we don't make it looks cool, looks fashion, like for example, working in Tesla, you are not, doing all the job. Machine will do it. You just manage a lot of computer, right?
Yeah.
So like you get company stock, you get paid very high. Yeah. So also the marketing for all those blue collar jobs need to be revamped because the stereotype from everybody is like, oh, those are not smart people to do it, right?
Yeah, that's unfortunate, and it's true. Even like trade schools are, I think it's maybe getting a little bit better, but trade schools were like really frowned upon. Like that's like, oh, if you dropped out of college, you're going to a trade school. But that's not like, what if you do like you really love working with cars, or
Yeah.
and you really like doing like something like wood shop or crafting. Yeah, it's unfortunate that that's how society kind of.
Yeah.
I wanna say, like, it's hard to say, like, have we improved, really? Maybe as adults, we kinda know now better that's like, "Oh, yeah, I kinda do need a mechanic because now I have a car."
Mm.
These are things that I actually do need somebody, or plumbing, I need someone to be able to do these things for me because I don't know what I'm doing, and I don't wanna ruin my house or my car. But, yeah, then when you're younger, it's not like the sexy job, like, you wanna
Yeah,
be
right.
a CEO of some sort of, like, a Elon Musk or like an Oprah or something, yeah, but, yeah, that should really be encouraged that, the quote unquote "menial jobs," those are just as important, if not gonna be even more important with, AI doing some of this stuff. Like, I don't know, luckily, I think some jobs are safe from AI, like, I don't know how AI is gonna replace, like, plumbers. Um,
I
a
think
lot of portable electricians. I don't know why I couldn't say that for a second there. There's
yeah.
these kinds of jobs.
Yeah,
Uh,
right now, I saw one of the videos, for SpaceX or like a Tesla, the robot, right? Um, it takes a very long time for the robot to understand you, right? You just ask, hey, how are you? It takes like a 30 seconds to answer. I'm good. And one time I saw one video clip, I feel like, gosh, why am I buying this crap? It's like one robot in the, um, kind of like a working space, right, in the office. I think that's Elon Musk's voice. And as the robot, like, hey, can you grab a ketchup in the kitchen for me? And the robot is like, think a
Think
very
about it
long
first.
time, right, 30 seconds, and say, oh, um, uh, taking, getting ketchup in the kitchen is a little hard for me. Why not you follow me and we go to kitchen and you grab a ketchup on your own?
What was the point? You were a several, probably $1,000,000 robot. It's just, well, even when you think about, something like ChatGPT and you put in a question and it gives you just like, no, where did you get this answer from? I can't even imagine what that would be like if you had one of these as a plumber. It's like, oh, you want this done to your house. Okay. And then it's putting pipes wrong incorrectly. And you're like, no, stop. And then it has to take the second to stop and like recalculate. And then you give the new prompt. So luckily, I don't think we're quite there yet where a lot of these
Yeah.
menial jobs will be replaced
Yeah.
by robots. But yes, watching some of them try to work is slightly hilarious.
Yeah.
It
So
brings
I
me some
think
joy.
so that's why all the kind of like a workforce is focusing on more like the blue collar types of jobs, right? Because the interesting thing is that what we think is hard, analytics or math, logic, skills, right? Processing information that AI is expert, right? White collar job. And something that, hey, just grab a catch up that everybody can do that AI has difficulties, right? It takes a very long time, right? So I do think that, yeah, like a blue collar job. And we just have to, market it as super cool, very clean, not the low, you know, the mini job. We
Yeah,
need to make it like a
exactly.
fashionable, high income, like a very cool the next, generation and the coolest job. So I do think there are a lot of interesting things. And I saw a lot of white collar people kind of like a subject matter expert start helping companies to train AI model, right? More like a knowledge. Yeah, like right now I got a couple of like a pretty cool interview that pay really high hourly. It's just like a once in a lifetime, for one company. And just having a couple of, things and giving them some data and kind of help them validate it, right? So
Mhm.
yeah, so that's probably the next for if you are more like the creative type, maybe helping some AI model build. Yeah, I think I don't know, but that's my thought. And also figure out. I think you're creating your own brand will be a good thing and be the unique yourself. I know like we like to follow, right? Because we know, oh, there's a rules or something. But right now, I mean, I'm still in the process of my master degree. I enrolled last year and I'm trying to finish it probably at the end of this year. But
Wow.
right now I was like, if I like, what's the point of graduate from it? It feels like, yeah,
What am I gonna
who
do
will
with
need
this?
it? Who will
Yeah.
need it? Yeah, so I just think that the world changed so fast, and we just like you said that we just keep building and keep learning. Yeah, we will find our way. Yeah,
Yeah. The first thing that everyone makes, the first several things that you make are going to suck, but that's okay because you need to get things out there in order to learn about them, in order to make better things, in the next iterations. But crazy times. I don't know where we're going to be 5, 10 years from now when it comes to AI, and I'm a little scared, but I'm still curious.
yeah. And what's your next move? Like, anything interests you? Like a freelance or content creation?
For now, I think I'm gonna try to stay freelance and just do, little independent contractor work for different, as many different companies as I can, because that way I can focus on work that I enjoy that doesn't feel like it's, taking a lot of time. Don't get me wrong, I did enjoy my time at Live, but sometimes making copies for really thick like Unity or Unreal SDK updates is not exactly the most exciting thing for me, no offense. So being able to focus on what I really loved, which was the content creation side, being able to make videos, being able to make more tutorials, especially. I love being able to help other people because this stuff is still kind of complicated. And, even no matter how much you plug into AI, sometimes it's helpful just to watch a video of the process to see it done.
right.
Because text, it's just like, okay, go here. Well, where is here? I don't know on the screen. Yeah. So at least I get to keep focusing on what I love and trying to help out some other developers who maybe don't have as big of marketing teams.
Mm.
Not as a full-time social media person or anything, but just, if they're like, hey, we would like a couple kind of exciting shorts or tutorials on how to use our product that is more than just a robot with a flat voice explaining how to put together this headset or what have you. I'm happy to do that kind of work. I'm really feeling not freer again.
Yeah, yeah. Do you think that the VR is dead because like a Meta pull off, start discontinuing a lot of business programs and yeah, like a lot of people on my LinkedIn start saying that VR they are going to shift kind of the main focus from VR to more smart AR glass or AI. Yeah, what do you
And
think?
I don't think VR is dead. Honestly, if you were to go into Gorilla Tag and ask kids like, "Hey, do you think VR is dead?" No, they're still they don't know any of this is going on.
Mm.
And honestly, I think that this is going to be sort of like a second resurgence. I know it might be a little scary hardware-wise because we're not really sure what's going to happen in terms of our other companies then going to be producing more headsets and hopefully
Yeah.
so.
Mm.
But, I think that this gives third-party developers more of a chance to shine than it did before,
Mm.
especially with the move of Horizon now going mobile first instead of being thrown in our faces in VR. Um, I think that this could be potentially another good opportunity to see,
Mm.
bigger growth that's not necessarily through Meta. It's sort of like, "Hey, the little people can rise up now." The little people, it's like, us.
No people.
So I don't think it's dead. I think that we're definitely in a lull. Well, you know, we need to hope that enough people are still going to want to be creating for VR. But as long as there's people like us that still sort of have that passion for it,
Mm.
I think we're going to see a lot of cool stuff, and it's going to be a little healthier with a little less meta involvement. I think.
Yeah, yeah, I do agree. I think we might need more of like options for the device because I find out that yeah, Meta if Meta pull off, right, then it feels like wow, we think the entire industry is died. It's just one company, right? Change the direction.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I do think that if we can have more options, that would be great. Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. So that's it for this episode. Thank you for listening. We release episodes weekly. Quick notes for listeners working at the intersections of AI, education, and workforce. Future Summit 2026 takes place September 9th, 10th in Santa Clara, focused on human skills in the autonomous world. It's a convenience for people to do the real work. Um, educators, technologists, and partners building equitable, scalable solutions. If your organization wants to connect with California community colleges leaders, sponsors, uh, we will provide you sponsorship and the opportunities are open now. Details at bit.ly/Future Summit 26. Okay. If you enjoy this conversation, check out our other episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. Support us by giving us a follow and a 5-star rating, or subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Thank you, and I will see you next time. Bye bye. The girl was pretty much listened to me. She joined another kind of like a game studio and just kind of like helping out. And the game shipped recently. And also she was joined tons of hackathons related to Meta. And also the interesting thing is that she got into the Meta Creator Program, which she can, directly working with Meta people. And also recently I just saw her got a full-time job in a tech startup. And she is probably 20, not even graduated from college. Yeah, so I feel like, hey, and you don't even need to pay anything, right? For example, if you go to college, you need to pay tuition, but she volunteer. It's like, oh, I learned something. I use my time, but in return, I got a couple of lists, published
Mm.
games on my, yeah. And I think last year she was a speaker to tell people how she accomplished this. So I feel like, wow, that's amazing. You can do
I
this.
I think I think that, that's a great story that reflects the fact that that's what we want, from a community college level, we wanna actually create equity, right? Like, there has been this, and again, this is something that's gonna have to be addressed by academia, but there has been this idea that we are the outsourced, HR department, right, for companies. It's like, if if what you've done is, do you have a boutique, like, Stanford brand, right?
Yeah.
You pass like the sniff test for the HR department, right? And we've gone through and had for a while had passed it on to the K through 12, like, you know, what's your GPA? How many AP classes did you take? What was your, SAT score? Like,
Yeah.
that was again kind of HR for the universities, which are then the HR for the companies. And
Mm.
and then what we did along the way was say, and you can't bankrupt if you take on a bunch of debt for, college. And that is again, then so now you're not gonna necessarily I go to a,
Mm.
I go and get an education, and it's not as qualified as somebody else, and now I can't get a job, and I can't bankrupt out of it. I'm just a permanent in debt person. Like, that is a joke.
Right.
That is just awful. And and if we don't address it, like, again, then academia is gonna get what it deserves for not addressing it, which is, people taking their money and doing things like figuring it out, doing their own thing, learning their own way. And along the way, somehow we were co-opted to be like, you need to make widgets. We cared so much about what people need from a business point of view that we forgot to make wonderful citizens, like to make wonderful human beings. Like, the, you know, what college should do is make amazing people that go
Right.
that respect who they are and the world that they live in, the people that they work with,
Mm.
and we lost the thread. And my hope is that we can get it back. That we can start to remember what the promise was and
Yeah.
what the real virtue of understanding and generating more agency for ourselves means and continues to mean.
Yeah, and I saw a lot of articles about right now people don't hire college grades, right?
Mhm.
And the reason why is because a lot of skills, it's like no longer. It's like if somebody need to hire the uh, uh, college grades, they
Mhm.
have to retrain. For example, I talked to one of my friend owns a game studio in Bay Area for over 20 years. She said that, "Oh, we only have like a 5 senior developer in our team, and it's enough." Yeah, with AI, right? And she said that, oh, she had a couple of intern in the past, but they find out I have to retrain, right? Everything need to retrain. Whatever they learned from school was pretty outdated. So that's why you see, like, I mean, I have my own startup, and I also have like my student start with volunteer. After 3 months, it's like, let's talk about if I can give you equity or not. Yeah, so it's more like that. And I realized that, for example, in our game dev like program, there's no GitHub training, which was like, hey, right now all the hiring managers looking at your GitHub.
They're
And the
looking at
reason,
GitHub.
yeah, and the reason why is because, according to the teacher, said that, oh, GitHub is complicated. Let's use like a Unity version control. You know, hey, it's interesting that the old way. And there are a lot of like a no AI policy. In Before I talked to a couple of change makers, I remember one. I feel very impressed. It's very interesting to kind of talk to some change makers. She is teaching computer science, and I usually ask, "What do you think the AI proof or the assessment need to be changed in AI era?" And she said, "Oh, I ask student to code exactly my way. If they code differently from my coding, they must be using AI." And I was like, "Well, this is probably a little bit too extreme." And I asked her, like, what's your coding type? It's like it's very basic, or we have a lot of spaghetti, right? You can keep repeating yourself, or you can be very concise, more like abstract, right? And she said, "Oh, her coding style is very basic, very beginner friendly." And I asked her, "What if your student is like, already working in the industry and write super amazing code and and very different from yours?" And she said, "Oh, they need to get into my lecture so I know they learn and they need to code exactly my way. Otherwise, they will be flagged."
Well,
So so
what's fascinating to me about those, and again, it's like, let's use that as just like an example, right? Like if me, Rick White, teleports back and has that as a professor, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take her whole corpus, I'm going to ingest it. Like she has coding styles and all that. I'll make sure that all my coding examples are code in her stuff,
in like be a shape
and she won't be able to tell,
yeah,
right?
right.
Like, and again, so then really, what is the point, right? Like of of process. It's like, and that's the part I think that we really have to work with our colleagues to help them understand that where the rework is not is not what you're delivering is diminishing in value. And but you have this understanding, and you have this capability, and you have this style, and the meta is that you're going to help them understand and recognize patterns. You're going to help them utilize patterns. And then in a smart way, you're going to help them create new patterns. Right. And that activity needs to happen in every discipline. Right. Because if you don't kind of embrace that,
Mm.
then you end up like kind of stuck in this place where it's cat and mouse again, and nobody's learning anything of any value other than how to trick the system. It's like, I don't know what value is in there, but other than rules are made to be broken, like that seems like what the what the common theme or story that gets to be told when you have people do ridiculous things over and
Yeah.
over again.
So that's what, yeah. But I think overall, slowly, I think a lot of faculty will slowly adapt, right? Because right now it's just, I know it has been a while, a couple of years, but for education, it's still a slowly move. Cool. So yeah, go for it.
We're in Oh, I was gonna say, we're institutionalized as well, right? Like, we believe, in assessment patterns and slows and all these things that have been developed by administration to try to quantify what's not quantifiable. Jo Right? Well, how do we know that you're delivering, right? It's like, yeah, because the students are happy, The students are content. The students are moving on. They're getting jobs, and they're a meaningful citizen in society. And that part is, you get used to being the gatekeeper. I'm the sage on the stage. I want everybody to listen when I talk, and we need to get over ourselves.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So,
Mm.
what's the one thing you still like to share that we haven't touched on yet?
Uh, I think that I think that uh, we're surrounded by a lot of wonderful and caring people. Like, especially in the community college systems, they're built on kind of creating kind of cultures of kindness and
Mm.
helping people to kind of reinvent and re-understand themselves. And I think that if we as an institution, as academics, if we lean into the fact that why we're here, right? To help people discover the wonderful the wonderful themselves, the wonderful people that they are, that the world will transform in ways that not only support, us, but help us to foster peace and kindness and abundance for everybody.
Yeah, I do agree. I think AI really helps us to release, our labors. That something that we don't want to do, or even we like to do, we can use them as co-pilot, right? Working with it, and also just like you said, that this world is abundant. If your mind is abundant, you will feel, the higher frequency, right? The love, the sharing, right? The run, right? Run actually is human to human. So the other side, two lines, that's two. And then that part is human, run, human. So two
Human to human.
to human.
Awesome. Thank you for explaining that. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, to human. So that is that word. So yeah, so if we can based on human and especially community college, we have a lot of different background of people. If we can give them like a more like personalized, and I think AI can really help us. But also we also address a lot of like AI issues such as privacy, data, right? So pretty much we just go around the world. Yeah. So yeah, I really appreciate Rick, and it was really inspiring conversation. And that's it for this episode. Thank you for listening. We release episodes weekly. If you enjoy this conversation, check out our other episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. Support us by giving us a follow and a 5-star rating, or subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Thank you, and see you next time.